Yeah. You should be a teacher.
Thanks. Well, I get the
Sounds like
question.
a
I
no.
get asked the question a lot, naturally. So I've had to, condense it, as much as possible. But right now, to answer your question, there's so many things you could do with Bitcoin. You could spend Bitcoin, you know, anywhere really, anywhere that'll accept a debit card. There are now companies that will give you debit cards and credit cards that are backed by Bitcoin.
Nice.
So how that will work is you use your Bitcoin debit card. As soon as go at a point of sales, and you process a transaction, the payment processing company will convert your Bitcoin instantly into cash. There's so much liquidity in the market with Bitcoin. It's very easy to convert it to cash, like within seconds. So
But that sounds a bit not here.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines, not Eastern Caribbean.
So that's why we're trying to change that.
with one back way.
With one back way, and it's definitely there's an educational process that needs to happen, and we're going to be pushing that heavily in the coming months. But we're actually getting there. The central bank issued the digital currency based on the blockchain called Dcash, right? Which is not a cryptocurrency. It's basically a digital dollar. But it uses the same technology as Bitcoin does. But a lot of these companies you actually can get here. What we're doing at One Beckway, we're working with a payment provider. So whenever someone, when everything is finished being built, someone will be able to come and pay with their Bitcoin at the bar.
Right.
They could purchase villas and Bitcoin. Anything
A whole
they could do.
villa?
And we're going to be bringing on board a lot of businesses. I've had some initial discussions with an airline here in St. Vincent that's going to be accepting Bitcoin. And we're going to make the ecosystem a lot easier and more straightforward.
Right.
And
But that in itself, Storm, comes with a number of challenges, I suppose, especially when it comes to financial security that not only exists here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but across the region.
Before you get to the challenges, though, I know some people might be wondering what is one Beckway. A bit of on the negative side, a lot of people have been saying, quote unquote, "So I'm going to buy out Beckway." So what is one Beckway? To clear up all of that and to give people the correct information as to what it is, what is that?
Well, I am a Vincentian, and like all Vincentians, I think I should be free to express myself, especially in the business sense, and to invest and create jobs. So it's not, for people who think of it in that negative way, I would say, this is bringing employment. This will bring, money to the community. This will bring development, investment, and all of these things. But to answer your question, what One Beckway is, it's a luxury development. We plan to build roughly 39 villas and a clubhouse, and it'll be ranging in size from 2 bedrooms to 5 bedrooms. Now, these are going to be high-end, luxurious villas, and what we will do is they will go into a rental pool, and we'll operate it similar to a hotel.
Right.
So the homeowners can spend 3 months out of the year here if they wish, and the other 9 months we will be managing the property for them. What we're doing is we're selling the villas off plan, which means we have done all the architectural renderings and the drawings, and we are saying to our prospective purchasers, this is what we have created. This is how the community will work. This is the cost. Basically you purchase the land, then you enter into a construction contract with us to build the property, right? So as you can see there, I don't pay attention attention to it that much. But a lot of people may ask, where is he getting all this money?
Correct.
You
Well,
know,
that question was coming.
yeah, tens of millions of dollars. It's Bitcoin. Where's they try to cast
but
aspersions on
Bonnie,
it.
what is going on there?
Yeah. It's simple. As I told you, when I spent my time in London, I saw how property developers raise financing for properties. And it's a standard practice. You sell off plan. In other words, to, create demand before you actually build.
Right.
Because I believe in there's a book called The Lean Startup Method. And, the traditional way is you go to the bank, you borrow millions of dollars, you build something, you build it and they will come.
Right.
Now, a lot
That
of people...
sounds real familiar. Yeah?
Very familiar.
Yeah. A lot of people, let's say, have ended up, going bankrupt that way because you don't know unless you test the market.
Right.
So you have to test the market.
So you've tested the market.
We've been, and we continue to do so. And we've gotten an amazing response.
Right.
Millions and millions of people around the world.
So the money that is invested by or paid to you by the prospective purchasers, right? That is the money that is used to go towards
Exactly.
Right. So it's not actually your money. It's the money that is coming from those who are
Exactly.
well
And then
hoping to purchase.
Exactly.
So
And
in a
after-
way, you've mitigated risk.
Exactly. That's the lean startup method.
Interesting.
And
Right.
that's what I've been advocating.
But okay, maybe let me put a pin there, and then let's touch on the challenges first, because there are one or two questions that I wanna ask that would lead. Well, one would lead to the other. So the challenges so far. Let's touch on the challenges
Well,
as it relates to Bitcoin and the whole
the
setup.
challenges have been getting the banking system on board,
Right.
and that will continue to be a problem. You look at things like you mentioned PaySwift. I think that in 2021, the fact that a startup like PaySwift is now in jeopardy of basically closing down because banks won't support it. And
Very unfortunate indeed.
I understand it from the bank's perspective as well, because they have to look at their intermediary banking relations. Because if they are deemed high risk, then Bank of America, etc., will not do business with our banks, and that's bad for St. Vincent, right?
It is.
Now, this is why I like Bitcoin, because there's no third party involved, and someone in an office in New York isn't going to decide to shut down a small island economy. I just find too much power rests in the hands of these so-called gatekeepers of the financial system. So by making it decentralized, where everyone is their own bank, essentially, you solve that problem. So I think that I'm talking to the guys at PaySwift to see if we could sort out a solution to the problems they're going through, because we need those types of businesses in St. Vincent.
In this day and age.
In this day and age, to make it easy to shop online. I mean, e-commerce, you have Amazon, which is a trillion dollar company. And in St. Vincent, our e-commerce, is barely taken off. And it's the same thing across the region. Why is that?
Has it really taken off?
I'm sorry?
Has it really taken off? Could we say it has taken off?
No, it hasn't. I don't think so. So we're missing out on a huge economy because we can be exporting a lot more. We just have to break down the barriers to entry, and the main part of that is payments. And blockchain technology, decentralized finance, solves all of those issues. So the banks here and also, the regulators here need to keep an open mind when it comes to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin.
Now, as I'm tempted to ask this, what would you say in this regard, in terms of the direction that we go? What would you say to, respectfully, what would you say to Camilo, who is Minister of Finance here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Because it's something that is needed and action
Yes.
must be taken presently. What would you say to him? What would you advise him to do?
We are at the beginning of Bitcoin has been around for 10 years, but I think of it, as a 100-year journey. We are at the beginning of this financial revolution, and we missed several other revolutions, the internet revolution. By this, I mean, when the internet started, the playing field, it was a level playing field. Now again, the likes of Amazon and Apple and Microsoft, they've shot, they've gone to the moon. There's no reason why those companies can't be built in St. Vincent. They're software.
Very true.
A lot of them are software companies.
Very true.
So once you have an internet connection, you have a computer, you download the software, you start coding, you could create almost anything. So I would say we need to jump on board fully, not tiptoe into it. And if we separate ourselves now as the jurisdiction where, let's say the Bitcoin friendly, the blockchain friendly, cryptocurrency friendly jurisdiction, while maintaining everything else, I'm not saying to replace the EC dollar.
Correct.
Or Dcash and all of these things, but allow these decentralized financial companies to flourish in St. Vincent from a regulatory standpoint. And once we do that, it's a $1.5 trillion market, right? We just saw what El Salvador did by accepting Bitcoin. I think that, for instance, and this is teasing something I'm working on. We had this horrible natural disaster that happened to St. Vincent. If the government opened a Bitcoin wallet or a cryptocurrency wallet to accept donations for the volcanic disaster, millions would pour in. Millions. Easily, because the Bitcoin community, the blockchain community, likes to support those who support them, right? So there's things like that, I would say, we just need to make the regulatory framework a lot more open to it.
All right. Here's a question.
I was going to ask, in terms of Bitcoin and versus PaySwift, would they work hand in hand, or would it be competition with PaySwift? I mean, PaySwift was looking at something different.
Well, I think that PaySwift can use blockchain as a means to, as a means to make its transactions, seamless, not having to rely on third-party banks. The trick is you need wide adoption, because you need everybody to accept, what is it, Dcash or whatever. And I think with the advent of and the introduction of Dcash, businesses like PaySwift would be able to flourish better, especially with local transactions. Again, it's just a trick of getting the money from overseas and settling locally. There are ways about it. You have to balance cash flow and certain things like that, but it is possible. And there are some banks that are somewhat open to Bitcoin, or funds coming from, derived from Bitcoin. So it is possible. And once they really think through it, it can be easily applied.
Okay. Here's a question. If Bitcoin is so secured, why are countries like USA, Canada, and England warning about it and doing all that they can to prevent money laundering, as it is said that criminals can easily use Bitcoin to do their shady transactions? Is that question
So again, as we were saying earlier, Bitcoin is based on the blockchain, which is a distributed ledger technology, which is open to the public. So the public can scrutinize all the transactions that take place with Bitcoin. Not going to say it's not possible, because criminals use the current financial system to launder money, right? But to move Bitcoin into the real world, so to speak, you need to show a source of funds, you need to show all of these things. So the same checks and balances are there, even more so, because a bank is really going to look closely at your Bitcoin and where it came from, Why the US, Canada, and all these, they're not necessarily clamping down on it as much as you think. Some of the most valuable companies in the world are based, cryptocurrency businesses are based in the US, Canada, and the UK. And like anything else, they want to capitalize on it first while stopping everybody else. Perfect example is the cannabis industry, which,
right.
The US is now the biggest cannabis producer in the world. But federally, it's illegal. So that means they will sanction anybody else. So it's fine for their states to make money off of it. And they will grow their plantations to a point where by the time we're ready,
You can't offer no competition.
we'll have to, there's still ways for us to compete. We have to go high quality, but they will get the mass market. So again, it's beating them to the punch. And that's what I think we have to be mindful of, is that they know money is there. And also the US dollar is a reserve currency, and Bitcoin threatens that. Because what if Bitcoin becomes the next reserve currency? It throws the US dollar off the pedestal, so to speak.
Here's a question. What if it doesn't? For example, this one is saying, I am sure that One Beckway will be a welcoming project, which, as you say, would create jobs. All right. My only concern is that your only financial system, Bitcoin, is relatively young on the financial scene. To build a $40 million project off of Bitcoin that is still in its infancy stages is a bit too early for that kind of cost. Are you by any means worried should the bigger countries decide to pull the plug on Bitcoin until they believe it is safe as the dollar, as raw cash? Are you worried should that happen?
I'm not worried. Again, there's $1.5 trillion. I'm pulling up the actual, going on coinmarketcap.com. If you're interested, you could go there, but it tells you the global crypto market is now $1.52 trillion. Right? It's too big. It's too big to fail. There's companies like Coinbase that's on the New York Stock Exchange. It's a $100 billion company. It's a crypto financial exchange. So, what I am planning to do is a small drop in the bucket. And what I did was also, if I may say so myself, is also smart, is that I use Bitcoin as a marketing angle because it's young and it's unique and it's new, and people have all these questions about it. It's topical. I coined it as, Bitcoin Island, so to speak. And that allowed me to get, we have received millions of dollars worth of free press just because we've done something unique, right? St. Vincent is now on the map. Beckway is now on the map as, Bitcoin Island in a sense. We just need to catch up with the hype, so to speak.
But a question on checks and balances, in terms of the prospective buyers, what is in place to ensure that we do not attract somebody who we really don't want in our waters
definitely.
on islands?
Good question. So I am only using FinCEN regulated companies to process my transactions. Which that means FinCEN is basically the U.S. Treasury. So the U.S. Treasury, they're regulated by the U.S. government, right? So you just mentioned the U.S. is maybe a little bit cautious with it. So the U.S. Treasury isn't going to play around when it comes to this. So I'm not going to be able to convert anybody's crypto currency into U.S. dollars unless they could show proof of funds.
Okay.
Then St. Vincent has a alien landholding license where it's you have to apply for it. So when someone purchases a property as a foreigner, before they could actually purchase the property, they need to submit their background information, their bio data,
So due diligence is
due diligence, exactly. So it's several layers of due diligence because the payment processor for the Bitcoin is going to have to double check it. Then when they send me the wire, the banks are going to check it. Then it reaches here. It's several banks going to go through their checks. Then it reaches here. You have to do the landholding application. They have to check that. So it's, I mean, you have to know, you will know who is the ultimate owner of the property.
Now, I've seen, especially on social media, persons liking this initiative, this project, to that of a Ponzi scheme. Has even made mention of aims and among others of that nature. The way in which they started their businesses, similar approach to what is being done, where the prospective purchasers would invest into the project that you have created. What would you say to that?
I would say people who say things like that are usually inspired by a dislike for other things about me that they don't necessarily support, saying it without actually saying it. But I just think those claims are ridiculous. There is nonsense. I really don't pay much attention to them. What I would say is, again, selling villas off plan, it's a industry standard. Go on the internet and go on Google and just say, buying villas off plan. And why developers do that and why purchasers like it is that they actually get a discount essentially by purchasing off plan. Because by the time, once a project is successful, once you're halfway through selling these homes, the developer is like, well, this is going good, I'm going to up the price, So it's a way for people to buy in early, and it's also a way to finance the project. A Ponzi scheme is completely different. That's when you accept money to invest in something and give people fake returns.
Right.
That's not happening here. We'll have brick and mortar villas.
Okay.
Show for it.
You said off plan, right? So about the land, where is the land available? And I want to ask you, what percentage of Beckway are you looking at? Because you said 49 villas. That sounds like a
39.
lot. 39. Sorry, 39
Yeah.
villas. Sounds like a lot.
It's we're kind of doing it as a residential resort. We're going to be doing them close together, almost like a townhouse style, but we're gonna strategically. The location is gently sloping, so we're gonna strategically locate them so that even though you're close to each other, you won't be able to see the next
Over
person.
the neighbors, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's like one massive plot of land.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's about 7 acres, 7.5 acres, with the 39 villas.
I know there's some people who are wondering who owns the land. Are you able to share that? No?
I own the land. I could share that. Yeah. Yeah, I own the land. So once you own the land, you're
Free to do whatever you want with it.
yeah, exactly.
Are you the sole owner of the entire project? Are there partners who are involved? Are there other
Yes.
investors who are involved?
Yes. So I'm talking with several investors right now. Also, we're developing a new project that I've been teasing. That will help raise funds. Part of it will help raise funds for the project, and we're doing it in such a unique way. It's going to become its own business. So One Beckway will be, let's say, the sandbox for this new way of selling real estate. And this has the potential to upend the $220 trillion a year the global real estate industry. And we're doing that here in St. Vincent. So through all these things we're working on, I have consultants working with me. I have a lot of investors who have showed interest, but I'm a good negotiator. I'm waiting until my position strengthens a bit more before I accept outside funding. But again, I won't even need to accept outside funding once the villas sell off plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some have said that for you to have been able to get this far with setting up such a project, you must have been given an easy pass, being the son of the Prime Minister and all of that. How easy it is for other realtors to do likewise, similar projects. Have you been given an easy pass because you're the PM's son?
Oh no, definitely not. I think if anything, that brings more scrutiny, and it's a lot of, because we live in a very polarized, politically polarized, society. Sad to say, but there are a lot of people who wouldn't want to see me do well. So for every person, there's probably another person who doesn't want to see me do well. So no, it hasn't, and I really worked hard my entire life. Those who've been a part of my journey know it. I explained part of that to you. I got into the London School of Economics, going from not wanting to go to university to getting into, one of the hardest schools to get into in the world. No one else sat my exam for me, I could tell you that. And I have a good work ethic. So that is let's say a sad part. It comes with success. But I've actually seen other real estate agents try that. I think Caribbean Dreams is doing a project.
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, Caribbean Dreams.
Maurice.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Big him up. He's doing the same thing. He's doing it for the Vincentian market. He launches renderings, and he has different styles of homes.
Right.
And he has the land there marked.
I like the fact that you mentioned that, because people won't, in terms of the propaganda, people won't go down that road.
Exactly.
Like you rightfully said, you would come under more scrutiny because
Exactly.
the PM's son.
But I believe that being the Prime Minister's son as well, wouldn't that also lend itself to assisting you to some extent?
I would say, being the son of Ralph Gonsalves,
Wow. He'll take away
assists me.
influence.
Because he sets a good example for me. And, if you look at things he's done, like raising money for the international airport. I mean, my God, how could a lot of people are scratching their heads, how are we able to, as a country, to do that, to pull it off? So it's about thinking creatively, so in that way it benefits me because he's shown me by example. But in terms of pull string or anything like that, it don't work.
I don't
like
get
that.
the impression that you ever depend on Daddy for anything. I haven't got that impression once. That you ever
No, I
depend
don't.
on Daddy for anything.
And I was on a show on Sunday, a panel, and they asked me, what inspired me to get into entrepreneurship, and it's freedom. Being able to go out and not to have ask mommy and daddy for $20.
So I was perhaps correct. You are the rebel, huh?
maybe a little bit. But may I interject here? I don't know, we're running out of time.
Yeah. We got
3 minutes.
thereabouts.
So I want to tease something.
The shells.
I am, yes. If everyone's been following me on social media, at Storm Gonsalves on Instagram, I've been teasing. Lots of shells have been showing up on my profile, and a lot of people ask me what's it about. It's something I want to give every Vincentian the opportunity to be a part of the success of One Beckway. And One Beckway is not just a luxury development. It's an example. It's a test case. It's a sandbox to show the world a new way of real estate development, a new way of marketing real estate. And please stay tuned to it. It's going to be huge. And this is going to be even bigger than the first story of One Beckway. A lot of potential, and everyone will have the opportunity to be a part of it.
All right. So with 2 minutes left, I want to ask one final question, right? So you outlined that Caribbean Dreams caters to the local market, and you would cater to the international market.
Yes.
Now, One Beckway sounds like something really fantastic, and you have 39 villas. Would you be open to offering those to locals as well?
Well, definitely. I just think that
Once you can afford
the
it.
price, the price point is what
local
may
discount.
exclude.
Once you can afford it.
Yeah, that may exclude. But it's like Tesla. Tesla started with their big fancy
Oh, Tesla.
car that cost a lot of money. That helped them raise enough money and get certain scale. And now they're doing the Model 3, which is more accessible. So that's kind of the thoughts I have with this, because I think that housing in St. Vincent, there's a housing shortage, I would say, for like, let's say, quality housing and affordable housing. So I would love to get into that market in St. Vincent. So it's something I'm putting my mind to.
Well, you could do 39 and a half. For the half, people like
There's,
me.
there's two more quickly. With Bitcoin being so unstable, why jump into that now? I lost 30% this year alone in my Bitcoin. Maybe
Well,
advice.
I'm not advocating to. I mean, don't invest in anything that you're not willing to lose.
It's business.
It's business. There's
Yeah.
always a risk. And if you bought in earlier this year, you would have gained 100%. Then now you would have dropped 30%. I am not a Bitcoin trader. I hold Bitcoin. I will use it. I'll accept it. But I'm not advocating for it as an investment or a get-rich-quick scheme. If you hold on to it, I'm sure it will go up. In 100 years, everybody will be using Bitcoin. That's for sure. Other than that, what happens in between then, I can't predict.
Okay. One final one quickly. Your project seems like it's mostly the building and selling of villas, and it's high end, which means only the rich would be able to buy. I think we touched on that a little bit. Can you convince the people of SVG that the One Beckway project might be, or might not, or would not become like Mustique, where most of the island belongs to foreigners by buying out the lands, etc.? Is this just the beginning of what to come?
My project will be extremely inclusive of Vincentians. I want Vincentians in my restaurant, not working in the restaurant. I want them to be guests at the restaurant.
Managing the restaurant.
They'll be managing the restaurant as well. Just using local talent. This is from scratch, a local project. And this is why I think people, those who are criticizing should be a little bit more supportive of it, because it's something we're trying to do that's new and innovative.
But you will get why people are so critical, because of what has been happening in the past. And for some extent, what has continued or is continuing to happen.
Well, we also have to decide, what do we want? Do we want jobs?
We also want to
How
own a
do
villa.
we? Yeah, it's a balance.
I want to own one.
Yeah, it's a balance. It's a
Yeah.
balance.
Boy, and I think there was a freeze in the WhatsApp because they're coming in now fast and furious and fiery. What are the starting prices looking like for the plan houses?
So, let's start with there's some bungalows.
Should I really hold? Should I hold on? Should I
Hold
on?
on,
to see if-
strap yourself in.
Woo, yeah, boy. Let's go.
Yeah, the bungalows,
Hit me.
1-bedroom bungalows would be like 350,000 US. 2 bedrooms would be, and it goes up from there. Let's put it that way.
That is 250,000
US.
US.
And it's
That would
Bitcoin
be,
equivalent.
what kind of
That's like $1
period?
million.
What kind of
Is that
period?
like $1 million?
About $1 million EC.
$1 million, you
A
see?
million,
Yeah, but it's the environment they're buying into.
Yeah. And that would afford you to stay how long?
Oh no, well that you
That's
own it.
own
That's
it.
yours.
That's owning.
Yeah,
That's-
but
Nice.
But then can you own it and then rent,
yes.
rent to
Yes,
others?
we'll have a rental pool. As you said, we'll be managing the villas and we'll have a revenue.
How do I
split.
get in? How do I get in?
Boy, you might have to walk down there.
How do I get in?
We'll
Or
set
get
you up, man.
married
We'll
to,
set you up.
No,
Whoa,
there's one here.
$1
Someone was
million.
asking where you got the money from, and they decided to answer it for themselves. I'm not gonna share it, but you did address that.
Yeah,
In terms of
I'll show
it's
my
gonna work.
business,
Off.
my business journey.
Yeah.
But then you said it's off plan, so really and truly, how much of a cash investment would you need?
Exactly. So I'm using the lean startup method. If those entrepreneurs out there, please read that book. It's quite innovative.
Okay.
All right, so
Somebody says I think I want to share this one. Somebody says y'all there laughing while he sits there getting rich off of selling our lands right under our feet. Address that.
Well, I find that a very odd comment.
I decided to share.
Yeah, it's a very odd comment. I mean, don't people buy and sell land every day? Don't Vincentians buy and sell land every day? I don't even
You understand
put much
why
thought to
I
that.
said a while ago that I am happy that you shared what was happening with Caribbean Dreams. Yeah?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly the
There are
same
lots,
reason
lots
why.
of other people, and it's open to everybody. You can't keep on fighting down entrepreneurs in St. Vincent just because someone is doing something different. Doesn't mean that you know,
It's not
they're
being done the right way.
doing something wrong. So I expect comments like that, and all I could say is, this project will have a net benefit for St. Vincent. It's going to bring in a lot of tax revenue, a lot of employment. Farmers are going to do well. Fishermen are going to do well.
But
And that's
for the locals, for example, on Beckway, who are not into Bitcoin, how do they stand to benefit? Directly, indirectly?
Well, remember, Bitcoin is also one aspect of it. We'll be accepting US, we'll be accepting
Okay.
EC, any major
Okay.
currency.
Okay.
But the taxi drivers, the water taxi, I said the local farmers, the fishermen, these grocery stores, we're going to have to house a lot of these, people, and the landlords. Everybody will be happy.
But would there be an educational process with the locals for them to see and understand how they stand to benefit so that they can better position themselves? for
Definitely.
example?
And what I'm working on is going to go at the heart of that, and it's actually going to create wealth for Vincentians.
see it.
I'm going to,
I can see it.
once what I have in mind works, and once it's accepted by the populace, then it will make money for everybody.
Lovely. We are
All
way
right.
out of time. way out of time.
Yes.
Storm, we want to say thank you and we want to wish you all the very best. Much success with all your endeavors.
Thank you very
now
much.
And in the future.
Thank you for inviting me. It was
Yes,
great
I share
hanging
the
out.
same sentiments. All the best.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Crystal.
thanks for coming, man.
I'll
Alright.
ensure that we keep your information and we're following you on Facebook.
I'm just waiting on the half.
Yeah, we'll
the 9 villas and a half, even a quarter. A quarter.
Sorry, something
All right.
big's coming.
All right.
Okay, let's do this. Let's
You
do
have
this,
it.
and we come right back inside.
The wake-up call is the only way to start your mornings. Rise with inspiration.